Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from GiantBomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a rare discount on one of the big consoles and why Lord of the Rings fans are happy about the Zelda movie. It's going to be a good one because we have Lex Luddy on the show. Lexi, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay, Grubb. I'm hanging in there. It's been a year and a half so far, and somehow we're not at the halfway point.
Just keeps going. It's like when you can't you always just keep cutting something in half so you can never actually get like down to where it starts? You just keep going in half and half and half. It feels like we're in that infinitesimal loop here in 2026. I love it.
Oh yeah, you love the suffering.
The suffering. Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do without it anymore. Actually, at this point, for sure.
To be fair, you've been stuck in Blight Club for long enough that's actually pretty feasible.
Yeah, all just looks the same at a certain point for sure. How you been? Did you enjoy your weekend?
Yeah, I enjoyed it fine. I took it easy, not too much on. Lots of there was playoff rugby in Europe. All the European teams and South African teams were playing. So it was very exciting for me, and my team got trounced. It was bad.
Yeah.
So it's been a rough year for us.
Yeah. The Red Wings were 10 points up into a playoff spot, and now they're out of the playoffs as they're about to begin. Because March happened, and every March they're just like, what if we stopped playing the sport we were paid to play? It's fantastic. I love it. I'm happy about it. Let's get into the show and explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb. We are a small team of internet video game doofuses, and we need your help. Go to giantbomb.com/join and become a premium member to support us. We are independent games media out here on our own, but if you go there and you support us, you get ad-free shows. You're gonna get premium-only shows like Marry Me Tomodachi, Portal Pals, 9 Lives of Mr. Mistopheles, and a whole bunch more. If you do that, you also get the satisfaction of knowing that you are supporting us into the future and that we can kind of take control of the kind of content we get on the internet. Stuff like this and stuff like we do at Giant Bomb. Let's keep making it together, everybody. If you can't support us financially, we get it. Any sort of support by telling a friend about the show, any sort of support by you just watching it, hanging out, we also really appreciate that. Shout out to everybody in the community. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on GiantBomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Super Mario becomes the only animated movie series to open globally at more than $350 million twice. This is from Chris Scullion at VGC. The 5-day opening weekend estimates for the Super Mario Galaxy movie are in, and it looks like another blockbuster for Universal and Illumination. As reported by Deadline, the film, which had a $110 million budget and was released on April 1st, took in $372.5 million globally by Sunday, the biggest worldwide opening so far this year. As predicted, the film didn't quite manage to overtake its predecessor, the Super Mario Brothers movie, but it wasn't far behind. The first film grossed $387.8 million globally over the same time period. The result means Super Mario is the first ever animated film franchise to have 2 titles with a global opening weekend of more than $350 million. It was a huge success at the box office, but just like the first one, everyone sort of showed up for this movie as well. It didn't seem to lose any of its luster in terms of attracting audiences. Lexi, I went to go see it. I had a pretty good time with this movie. It is definitely one of those where I'm glad we went. We had a good time. That's kind of all I want from this. I agree with all of the critics. All the flaws are certainly there about this movie, but at the same time, it's like, I have these dual thoughts of, but that's not what I was showing up for. I was showing up for the fan service, and I felt, satisfied with that by the end of the movie. And the kids enjoyed themselves, and we were all talking about our favorite parts of the film and on the car ride home, which is kind of all I really want when I go to take the family to see a movie. Lexi, I think you said you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm hopefully going to get out and see it tomorrow. Everything in Ireland kind of closes over the Easter weekend, so traveling around is a bit of a pain. But yeah, I'm hoping to get out to see it. I don't know, I didn't even enjoy that first movie that much, but
Yeah.
I just have a sense of obligation. Like,
Sure.
I'm just like, well, I feel like I should see this. I saw the Borderlands movie. I guess I should see this.
Yes, exactly.
Which, boy, still think
Boy.
about that sometimes.
Yep.
What a film. What a picture. But yeah, I'm more curious about how your kids felt about it than you, because that's kind of who this is for. Like, did they get home and go, I want to play more Mario?
Yeah, definitely. They had me turn on Galaxy 2 and stuff, and we were playing some of that. Although that game's a little bit weird with how they put all the controls onto one controller, so you don't have the Wiimote and pointing and stuff. But whatever, that's beside the point. Yeah, they were very like just into it. It kind of reignited some interest in Mario again, as it's certainly intended to do. Yeah, like I said, they were kind of buzzing on the ride home, and everyone was picking, like, and Emmy had her opinions. She did wish there was more Rosalina. She was saying like she doesn't love that characters from other universes are in there. She's like, Star Fox had too much screen time. She was kind of hoping for a little bit less from him. And then she also everyone loved the Pikmin showing up. So we know they're in the posters and everything like that. So just kind of getting to see them and how they show up was really fun. So yeah, good time.
I also want to get the opinion of another young child, Turbo Sean. What did you think of the movie?
It's like the first movie. It was fine. It was a lot of references, a paper thin plot, but every child in the movie theater was popping off and cheering when they saw something they liked, and they walked out seeming to really like it. So I think that's what matters at the end of the day, even if it's really pathetic that they took the most powerful being in the Mario universe and made her a damsel in distress plot device. That really sucked.
Yep.
Without going into the next news story too much, did this movie leave you more or less interested in the Zelda movie? Or totally unaffected?
Oh, Zelda. Huh. I think Zelda is just like a different thing altogether at this point.
Are you saying that the Mario universe is the DCEU and the Zelda movie is Joker?
Yes. Yeah.
I think you said that, and we're going to pin that on you, but you're not wrong.
Exactly right. No, she's 100% wrong. Or right. Excuse me. Yeah. It's, what do they call the Joker? It's from the Elsewhere universe or something like that. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's Sony making Zelda. I don't know what to expect other than I know Miyamoto will be involved in both. I always get the sense that Miyamoto might be a little bit of a detriment to the Mario movies, where he might be the one in the room speaking up, being like, no, these characters can't like have tension. They need to get along the entire time. I'm like, oh, sir, I think it would help the movie if you just let them have a little bit more friction between these characters, but I don't know.
I did say it on Blue Sky. I love how much Nintendo plays up Miyamoto's involvement in these movies. Of like, he's one of the only two producers on it. It's him and Chris Melisandre, and like he's the one who gets out there and talks about it on their behalf. And it just conjures this image of Miyamoto watching hundreds and hundreds of animated movies to find the right studio, and then arriving at the Lorax and being like, yes, these people.
This they got it. This is my Mario studio.
I think that's exactly what he did, Lex, because this movie, it seems like it's coming from a person like Kojima, who watches a lot of movies and then writes an absolutely terrible one and doesn't actually know what a story is supposed to be.
Yeah, I just think that if Miyamoto has a similar sort of relationship to the Zelda movie, it could be like causing some friction, I think, between them making a good movie and not making a good movie. But either way, came away from Mario pretty pleased. Yeah,
Fox was cool. That was my takeaway. Fox was that intro, dude. That intro for Fox is what I want the Star Fox movie to look like.
Yes, if they make the movie, if they make the game look like that, right? That's a big part of like the game's aesthetic. That would be fantastic. But
I genuinely do quite like Glenn Powell. He is a very funny man,
same.
and he is aware of the fact that he is way too handsome. Like he plays into it.
Yeah, I'm a fan as well, and I thought he did a great job as Fox. So very, very cool to see. Yeah, I mean, when it comes home, I will get it on DVD, and we'll keep it in the van, which has a DVD player, and we'll probably watch it 100 more times. And I'm fine with that. It will not like negatively affect me, even if I like don't think it's a great movie. I could still have a very good time with it. All right, let's kind of stick in this realm. Coming out of this movie, certainly one thing that Nintendo does want is for people to then go buy its other products, its other merch. And it seems like they lined things up to take advantage of this moment with this headline: Nintendo Switch 2 bundle with Mario Galaxy games discounted for limited time. This is from My Nintendo News. April is shaping up to be a cosmic-sized month for Mario after seeing the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Players can start their own adventure with a limited time offer from Nintendo featuring the Nintendo Switch 2 system and the Super Mario Galaxy plus Super Mario Galaxy 2 games. From April 12th through May 9th, purchase Nintendo Switch 2 at the same time as the physical or digital version of these galactic adventures and save $20 at participating retailers such as Amazon, Best Buy, GameStop, Target, and Walmart. It's not a lot. It's $20, and you've got to get it with the game. And the game is maybe arguably this bundle of older games overpriced to begin with, but maybe we got to take the W's where we can get them. The fact that there's any sort of discount on this at all, the fact that Nintendo has an appetite to put out discounts when we know how much costs have gone up, is something of a good sign. Like, they could still roll these things out and people can act in this moment. We are, I think, still expecting, Lexi, a potential price increase for the Switch 2. So if you're in the market for this game, this collection, and a Switch 2, maybe this is the time to act. I don't know. How are you feeling about discounts and game prices and console pricing?
You know, it's really embarrassing that some people are taken in so easily by cheap marketing ploys that prey on their nostalgia.
Yeah, pathetic. Absolutely. Just who would immediately run out and just get a toy of the thing they saw in the movie?
But yeah, it's a weird time for pricing. Out of curiosity, I was like looking at prices of just stuff recently, and every time I like look at things again, I'm like, oh, that's worse somehow. It somehow got worse again. I was like, I was watching a old Digital Foundry video on where they were reviewing the 5080, and they were like, the recommended retail price is $1,000. And then I looked at what it's currently going for, and I was like, oh, that's like $2,300 now. What the fuck?
Yep.
Things are rough out there, and I like the fact that there is a discount outside of Black Friday is genuinely almost like refreshing. Of
It's
like
surprising.
there is still a ability to bite some of the costs on some of this. Whether that is Nintendo losing money on these sales or not is another thing. I think that they are still in that phase where they have to grow the user base, and they are very actively trying to grow the user base. I think this Mario movie does a lot to excite people about Nintendo games again, and I think that the real thing that they want now is a exclusive game like Procopia and maybe something else that really pushes people over the edge, or like, oh no, I have to have this. But as it is right now, like Donkey Kong and Mario Kart really didn't do that for a lot of the more casual audience. They were like, actually, I'm pretty happy with what I have. And so it's going to be interesting to see what triggers Nintendo pulls over the coming months to try to get people to finally move on this thing before the price goes up or as the price is going up.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with the Switch 2 launch, Lexi. And then as we moved into this year, and the conversation was certainly souring around it before Procopia came out. And I think if you remove Procopia up until this point, the Switch 2's year's been really grim, actually.
Yeah.
The Mario Tennis game, which I thought was pretty good, but was so similar to the last game in a lot of ways that it felt so redundant, and it completely missed. And that's not just with like,
it's like $70 too. It's not these aren't budget titles.
It's a misstep, I think. Like, I think it's Nintendo misreading the room on what people want and what they're willing to pay for when it comes to like returning games or whatever. It's like, yeah, just because we bought it last time doesn't mean it's going to do the same thing on Switch 2. You kind of got to give us a little bit of variety here. And then the Meetup at Bella Bell Park DLC for Super Mario Brothers Wonder has also. Oh, I just hit a button. Did that music start playing? Great. If you just take that game as an $80 Switch 2 release, it's absurd. It's crazy to think that you're paying that $20 extra on top of the $60 game from the Switch 1 version. And what it really is just a collection of party games. There's some remixes to the levels and stuff like that, but it honestly makes me think less of that game overall. And so without Pocopia, and then maybe without this movie moment that is going to reignite excitement about Mario,
And of course, Metroid Prime 4.
of course, Metroid Prime 4. Duh. It feels like, yeah, the Switch 2 was in this rough spot, and these bigger things now are sort of glossing that over. I mean, a lot of these things, Lexi, could just be growing pains for a new console, right? They are trying to line things up. They haven't had time to get the Mario and Zelda out yet. But do you think this is the momentum between Pocopia and the movie can carry it forward until they get to that point?
Yeah, I mean, like, in some ways it feels a bit weird to be complaining about the launch releases or the releases since launch of the Switch 2 when you compare it to something like the PS5, which had a real sparse launch when it came to new releases and exclusive releases and things like that. But then you go like, oh wait, no, this is Nintendo, and up until this point they have been really good at spacing out their releases. So it seems weird that as the new console launches, that's when they really stumble with their release cadence. For the first time in like 5 or 6 years, you know, since the early days of the Switch 1 when things were a little bit quieter and indie games were kind of keeping things going. And so it is odd to see the pace and the quality just not there. Like, it's great that boost mode is now available, but it's probably not a good sign that people are like, oh, this is the most exciting news with the Switch 2 at the moment. Like, is being able to play those games in the handheld or in the docked mode when you have the Switch 2 handheld. So yeah, it's a weird situation for them to be in. This all changes if they go, hey, we have a direct in 2 weeks' time.
Yes,
and
of course.
Suddenly
we forget quick.
Yeah, and suddenly everyone forgets how disappointed they were about like a Mario Tennis game, and instead are like, well, there's a new Zelda coming, so I guess I'll give them $150 anytime they ask for it. And so yeah.
I would just hope that the Nintendo's learning from it, like because it feels like Sony and Microsoft are on their own path. They're going to figure out things their own way. I was kind of feeling a little bit at home with Nintendo during the Switch 1 era and going into the early parts of Switch 2. It's like, hey, look, Donkey Kong Bonanza rules. I love that game. I thought Mario Kart World was all right. I have more fun with it every time I go back now. But yeah, some missteps. It's like, can you just learn from this and come back with a Mario sports game, for example, that feels like it is informed by the criticisms of the last game and does something new and unexpected? That would be the least they could do coming out of this stuff. But we'll see. I just hope they're not like being like, oh, Pocopia solved all our problems and we can kind of keep doing things the way we've been doing business as usual. I want them to make some improvements and stop being so blasé with some of these releases.
And it has been kind of weird, that stuff like the Virtual Boy was one of their big releases for a month, like that. I get it. That thing is fucking awesome that they have it, but also that brown box down in my bottom left-hand corner is an unopened Virtual Boy.
Yeah.
I bought it and I just haven't used it because you know what? Turns out the Virtual Boy, not exactly a great console to like play for long periods of time. So,
No. Nope, it is. It's a weird thing. I have it set up still, but it's like every time I look at it, I'm like, that looks cool. Afraid to put my face in it because I don't need a headache right now. But yeah, I mean that's weird. Nintendo doing weird stuff, and I approve of that for sure. All right, let's stick with this next story here. I forgot to actually put the text in here, but the headline is most of it. Zelda movie filming at same locations as the Lord of the Rings, and people are excited. Those people are Lucy James, I guess. Lord of the...
I just really like the idea of people who are so excited to hear that a movie is in New Zealand. They're like, wow, fantasy is real, and it's just New Zealand.
That's what it seems like.
Christchurch, lads. Like, it's fine. I get it. It's a lovely country, but it's just rainy and misty, and there's lots of sheep around.
It's filming at some of the same locations that Peter Jackson's Oscar-winning The Lord of the Rings trilogy shot at in New Zealand. The island country is known for gorgeous natural beauty. Yeah, we've heard of New Zealand. Specifically, some of the recent filming has taken place in actual paradise, which is where many iconic scenes from Jackson's movie were filmed, including depictions of Lothlorien, Isengard, and Amon Hen. So I guess people are like hearing this or seeing some photos or something, and the Lord of the Rings fans are doing the Leo pose and pointing at the screen and going, I know that thing. I think that's what's happening. So
I do like the idea that they're just kind of like, maybe they'll like they'll find Peter Jackson just hanging out on in that
there's a
area, and
chance.
they'll be able to get him on board. Like they'll be able to hire, because he's there anyway. He won't leave.
It's like when Tom Cruise apparently like landed on the set of the new Star Wars Starfighter movies, like, give me the camera, I'm gonna shoot a scene. Whatever that meant, whatever that story was trying to tell us, there, like, Peter Jackson could do the same thing with the Zelda movie. Just, parachutes in, films one scene and disappears, and everyone could say he worked on it.
Do you think Peter Jackson has played a Zelda game?
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I think there's a chance.
I bet so. Yeah, I bet so.
I think he might have like played Zelda 1 back like in his youth, and hasn't played one since then. But fantastic. Hey, we were talking about it, what to expect from this movie. I still don't really know. I still think it's probably a safe bet to imagine it as a bad movie, because there's so many ways that getting this right is going to be very difficult. But you tell me, should I get my hopes up for this Zelda movie?
I mean, I liked that recent Planet of the Apes movie that this guy did.
Wes Ball?
Wes Ball, that's right. And I also thought, what's his name? The guy who played the new Caesar in that movie would be a great Ganon. I can't remember his name now off the top of my head, but he was also in Abigail. Chat will remind me of his name. But like, he's built like a shit brick house, and he could do a good Ganon. But also, yeah, it's one of those things where this movie could just be... There's been a lot of fantasy IP, like they're making a Masters of the Universe movie, and I also like that director, and I look at that Masters of the Universe movie, and I'm like...
It doesn't look great. Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, there's a fighter's chance that this movie comes out and it's surprisingly good, but I just... I'm not going to get my hopes up, actually. That's where I'm at with it. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what's going on at the Halo studio. It seems like a mess over there, as always. If you want to skip out on these ad messages we're about to go to, you can do so. Go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member. Once you do that, you can go to the site, find ad-free versions of the video and audio program. In the meantime, though, we will be right back. All right, it's Game Mess Mornings. That's Lex Luddy. I'm Jeff Grubb. Lexi, let's get back into it. Veteran Halo developer accuses studio of, quote, numerous unethical and unlawful acts. From Robert, from Robert D. Felice at Insider Gaming. The art director of Halo Infinite and a veteran developer on the franchise is accusing senior staff at Halo Studios of numerous unlawful acts. Glenn Israel worked on the Halo franchise for 17 years. He began in April 2010, but left Halo Studios in October 2025. In LinkedIn posts, Israel states that between January 2024 and June 2025, he witnessed several unethical or unlawful acts by senior staffers at the studio, quote, including but not limited to blacklisting, fraud, rampant favoritism, cronyism, manifesting as hiring and career growth interference, and multiple harassment campaigns designed to provoke the constructive discharge of unwanted employees otherwise in good standing. He goes on to say that he filed several complaints with Microsoft's HR. Then in June 2025, a senior global employee retention representative threatened retaliation on first contact and promised to quash any further investigation. Israel goes on to accuse the representative of engaging in a 4-day-long harassment to manufacture a cause for his termination in July 2025. So yeah, there's plenty more here. I will say that when I was first reading this, Lexi, I was worried, okay, could it be one upset employee? Since he's posted this, there have been other former Halo Studios developers who were like, yeah, this sounds right to me. This sounds right up the alley of my experience, and in some cases, I think it was worse. That these are people adding their voice to this. Now, again, that's not confirmation. I will say that I've always heard that the leadership at Halo Studios, previously 343 Industries, it was whatever it is, was a mess, and it always felt like people were, backstabby, I guess is how I would put it. Not to go too far into making accusations that I can't back up. It's okay, yeah, that sounds like a pretty bad place to work, and this definitely echoes those sorts of things that I've heard. But again, I cannot confirm any of that. So, what do you think, Lexi? Especially for the studio that has been so maligned over so many years, this is just one more reason to be like, man, can't you just scrap the whole thing and start over?
Yeah, it's the thing that always seemed to come out after each Halo release was like, yeah, everyone got in arguments making this thing, and no one agreed on any of the things that we were really doing. And there was no, like, the direction, and, you know, people were disagreeing on very fundamental aspects of the series, like what the series was at its core, and trying to emulate what Bungie had done before versus trying to carve a new path. And the vibe that I always got out of 343 itself was it was a fiercely political studio in some ways, or fiercely a studio where people who were right and wrong on certain things that followed them around after they were right and wrong about those things. So, you know, things if you did a good job on something, people remembered it, and if you did a bad job on something, people held it over you. And it felt like people were everyone wanted to be in charge, or not in charge, but, you know, progressing. Because of course you would. It's the studio in charge of Halo. That's a huge deal. And yeah, I don't know, like, it makes a weird amount of sense in hindsight that there would be a lot of this kind of like infighting and things like that, but I don't know, it's another thing where you look at all of the stuff that has gone on with Microsoft Studios over the years, and like the idea of, sure, like, if Microsoft is running this studio, it's their job to either stop this stuff from happening or to make it happen in such a way that it doesn't cause a mess. And right now, neither of those things are happening. You know, like, it's one of those things of like, yeah, maybe Microsoft are fine with their studios being, you know, highly toxic workplaces, but if they are fine with it, they also have to like keep the lid on that shit, and they're clearly not able to do that either.
Keep a lid on it and produce games that are selling, right? It's like they're doing all this, and on the other side of it, they continually to trip on their own feet as they release the games. So it's like they're not even getting the benefit of being like, well, we're making so much money, who cares? Don't stop the party, guys. There is no party. It's just miserable on every side of it.
Yeah, and so I have to wonder what the day-to-day like in that office must be like, or like the motivation and the, you know, vibe in that office of everyone's fucking pissed about what's it again, Campaign Evolved, and the fact that it's single player only, and that it's multiplayer is only online, and all these different things, and you can basically do no right in that position.
Right.
And now they've moved to Unreal Engine, and everyone's pissed about that because they don't like Unreal Engine for whatever reason, and all this different stuff. Like, it just seems like a place where no matter what you do, it's probably going to be the wrong thing for the next 5-10 years. And there's no real way to like please everyone unless Halo 7, I guess, is just a like knockout home run, which, if this is the kind of, you know, workplace that you're cultivating, it probably isn't going to be. They've had massive turnover both at the top and throughout the company. Like, they have had a lot of churn at that studio.
Yeah, I mean, and Halo Infinite is a pretty good game, and its sin was that they couldn't get enough content out fast enough because the tools were difficult to work with. So it's like, okay, the idea is switch to Unreal, but like, I don't know if Halo Infinite comes out and it does have enough content. I actually don't know if the conversation around it is that much different, because I think people just want something that, if they want to return to when they were, you know, 13 playing it on Xbox for the first time, and
you can't go home again, you know?
It just can't go home. Yeah.
Halo is the ultimate you can't go home again game. You're never going to be in college playing all night with your roommates again over LAN.
Right.
That's just not going to happen. And no type of multiplayer experience, battle royale, you know, big team battle, whatever kind of new thing they try adding, it's not going to replicate that feeling, no matter what they do. And, you know, narratively, that series has written itself into so many corners.
Yes, yeah.
That, like, what the fuck do you even do with that story at this point? So yeah, I don't know. They're in a real miserable spot, and I don't feel like, I feel bad for everyone who's stuck trying to make it work. But if this is how you were treating your employees, and you're setting people who are like 17-year-old art directors up to fail and to be, you know, kicked out illegitimately, then also, like, that's awful form, and no wonder your studio is struggling if that's how leadership is acting.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if Microsoft like does any sort of major response to this. I mean, they did post a little response, but when Windows Central asked them, they just said, out of respect, we don't publicly discuss individual employee issues, but we do take all claims seriously for both current and former employees. So they're just saying what they're supposed to say there. If this person is lying, you would want to be like, hey, let's sue this guy for defamation, and then we get to see like all the stuff that comes out in discovery. So we'll see if they respond in any legal way. I bet they won't. If any of this stuff is even close to being true, they won't want it to come out like that. All right. From one Microsoft mess to one that maybe is less of a mess than people are feeling like it could be. State of Decay 3 is back from the dead, and you might be able to play it soon. That is a headline from Darren Bomthus over at GameSpot. State
Huge
of Decay
news for Brad Shoemaker.
Yes, for the Brad Shoemakers of the world, State of Decay 3 has been missing in action for several Xbox live streams and game showcases for years now. But at long last, the threequel has surfaced, and developer Undead Labs has announced that it'll be hosting an alpha test for the zombie apocalypse survival game. Signups are now live for the State of Decay 3 alpha, and Undead Labs also posted a new video showing off the teasing of the long in development title. The alpha playtest will kick off in May, and participants can expect 4-player co-op, new base building and resource strategies, and plenty of combat. So yeah, it's here, and it's getting a test, and people can actually see it for themselves. Maybe not how I thought it would reemerge. I thought they would try to make a little bit more of a big deal about it, because there are people who are super fans of this franchise, including Brad Shoemaker, Lexi. But seeing it like this, okay, what they want to do is just really prove that it's real, and kind of approach the release slowly by letting people play it and responding to their feedback. It's like, okay, that's also a completely viable route for this. I hope it does well, because I like I said, I know people love their State of Decay. What do you think about this?
Do you remember when this game was first announced?
I know it's like more than half a decade ago, right? I know it's more than 5 years ago.
2020.
Okay.
It was announced at the Xbox Series launch thing, at their big presentation, their big blowout, where they were showing all the new Xbox Series games. Where was that game in development at that point?
Yep.
Like, how far into that game were they? Boy, man,
Moreno says that apparently the head of the studio said the game only existed in a Word document when the reveal trailer came out 6 years ago. So it was just a doc.
Great. Awesome. Yep. That's a great way to announce a video game. Man, Matt Booty's still at Xbox, huh?
He is moving on up constantly. Yeah, I mean, and it does often feel like a lot of those, let's reveal this game now and try to get excitement going for it, decisions do come down to him. Perfect Dark and all this other stuff that fizzled out or got canceled or didn't come out for 6 years. Strange. I'm gonna try this. I like State of Decay 2. All right. I definitely didn't get out of it what some people got out of it, but it has a ton of cool systems, and I've always been kind of waiting for the one that really would catch me. Maybe this will be it. We'll see. I'll try to get into the alpha and see how I'm feeling about it. All right, let's keep going here. PlayStation Studios removes nearly all PC references from websites. This is from Taka Kashif at Game Observer. Recently, there have been reports that Sony is pulling back from its aggressive PC porting push for big-budget single-player games, with claims that PC versions of major titles such as Ghost of Yotei and Housemarque's Saros may have been dropped. The speculation has gained even more attention after PlayStation Studios quietly updated its official website. The company has refreshed its main banner, now featuring Ghost of Yotei and Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet, while removing Demon's Souls Remake from the lineup. Another noticeable change is that Bluepoint Games and Dark Outlaw Games are no longer listed on the site. Wonderful. Following the closure of both studios. In their place, Sony now includes Team LFG, a new first-party studio comprised of former Bungie developers. As spotted by Zubitech.
That leaves out how Team LFG was founded, if you remember.
I don't. What is Team LFG?
That was when there was the huge Bungie layoffs after they first got acquired by Sony. And Sony were like, listen, we're not going to lay all of you off. Some of you can stay in the same office and form a new team.
Right.
So,
man, weird stuff. And then, as spotted by users Zubitech on Twitter, Sony has updated these descriptions compared to the earlier versions. For example, PlayStation X Dev previously said it was collaborating with ambitious external studios across the globe, with new descriptions now reading partnering with talented people, blah, blah, blah. They basically, eventually, this all leads to, and all of these references to things coming to PC have been changed to basically just say console or to drop the reference to platforms at all. And that does include in like the PlayStation X Dev website, and it includes to just their general references to some of their games on the website. Now, there is no like blog post, Lexi, saying, and everyone's right, we're not doing PC games anymore. Not to say that that won't happen, but they will have to like explain it in a way that makes sense, because they're not saying no PlayStation game will come to PC anymore. The multiplayer on live service games very likely will come to PC, and likely will come to PC on day one. So do they even need to say anything, or is that just like these things just stop happening? What do you think?
yeah, I mean, this whole thing feels like it's probably going to play out one way, which is the PS6 is going to get a price announcement, and it's going to be a lot of fucking money, and people are not going to have a lot of money to spend. It's going to underperform, and then someone at Sony will go, how do we sell more copies of our video games when our console is underperforming? And the answer is pull this lever again.
Yes.
Like, this makes sense in the lead up to a console launch, that they are being like, well, we gotta make sure that people want to buy the console still. But in reality, the way that purchasing power is going, and the amount of money that people have, and the amount that this thing will likely cost, will probably mean that they will wind up in a situation where the PS6 is selling less than the PS5 was at, especially considering like manufacturing them is going to be even harder than manufacturing the PS5 was. And like, there were part shortages then. There's way worse part shortages now. So like, yeah, I don't know, this feels like it only ends one way, which is this stuff eventually being rolled back. And ultimately it seems a bit silly in a way. Like, it just seems like, we didn't see the returns as quickly as we wanted, so we're viewing that as a failed push, and we're going back to how things were. And now they're going to have to go back to it anyway, because ultimately they're all going the same direction. You know, Xbox and PlayStation are all sailing the same sea right now, and they're all facing the same problem. Like, Nintendo have a bit of a thing carved out for themselves, but they also have similar issues at times with their hardware and stuff like that. So it's not like PlayStation is isolated from the problems of the industry, and that they will be able to just continue to sell their games really well on PlayStation exclusive consoles. And we saw with like Marathon sales data, which sounds pretty accurate, like some of those games are not selling great on PlayStation consoles, especially if they're not the traditional PlayStation style single player games, which is what Sony has invested heavily in for the next several years. A lot of the games that are still in development are not traditional single player PlayStation story games. They are multiplayer games. Like, we still have fair games to get through and stuff like that. And those games will come to PC, but any other game that kinda is not a big story AAA game or a multiplayer game, like anything outside of, like, I worry about Seros, because Seros isn't The Last of Us, and it's not Spider-Man, but it's also not coming to multiple platforms because it's not a multiplayer game.
Returnal did really well on PC. Like, a lot of these games didn't do as well on PC, but I think Returnal did pretty well.
And so I'm looking at that game and I'm like, well, is this game just kind of snookered now? Is this going to do really poorly on, PS5? There's probably a fair few fans of the first Returnal, but like, that game seemed like it gained a lot of momentum when it got its second push on PC, and it got its multiplayer mode and stuff like that. So I don't know. I worry for any of the games that are not just Naughty Dog games, pretty much.
Yeah, I think obviously Sony, when they look at their spreadsheets and they see, okay, when we put the stuff on PC, we were making more money, but what we really want to protect at the end of the day, obviously, is selling games on PlayStation and especially selling third-party games on PlayStation. And we just need to focus on making sure that there's a huge install base of our consoles going forward. So you're right. I think this is about setting themselves up for the PS6 because the extra money they get from selling their own games on PC does not even begin to scratch the surface of the kind of money they make from selling other people's games and content on the PlayStation Store and taking a 30% cut. So,
or just, shark cards,
Yeah, right. Yes, right. Exactly. Just DLC, just add-ons, all kinds of stuff, currency cards for Fortnite. Yes, they make a lot of money from that specifically. And so their business works backward from let's make sure that that's the healthiest it possibly can be. And while it's very healthy right now, they are always looking ahead a couple of years and be like, okay, we're going to have to restart the cycle with the PlayStation 6 and make sure there's a lot of people who just make that transition. And there's a lot of reasons right now to think that's going to be a little bit more challenging. And, depending on how the world goes, it could become much more challenging without them really doing anything wrong. So they got to maximize their opportunities. And I think that speaks to your point about let's have these games be exclusive to our consoles so people have a reason to get the PS6 when that launches. All right. Grime II reviews. I'm picking this up because I think Backlar was talking about it. He was into it a little bit. And then I've heard good things from others. And it's reviewing pretty well. This is a sequel to the Metroidvania style game. It's a little bit gothic looking, kind of grimdark, a little bit edgy. And the sequel apparently is much better than the first game, according to the reviews. It has an 83 on OpenCritic, a 9.5 out of 10 from Jesse Norris over at Day One, who says Grime 2 is a phenomenal video game. Every aspect of it is a huge improvement over the original. If you have some patience and love a good Metroidvania, Grime 2 is the best one I have played since Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I cannot recommend it enough. That's high praise. I think Prince of Persia The Lost Crown is sort of the top of its class of that kind of Metroidvania. It got a 9 out of 10 from Varun Karunakar at Gaming Bolt, who said Grime 2 nails down its presentation and mechanics very well and makes them work together to present an experience that's purely entertaining and melancholically charming. It's melancholy and charming is what I'll say. 7 out of 10 from Anna Brazer at progamers.life, which is a hell of a name for a website, but I think it's Spanish, so it's not really what it's supposed to be. Grime 2 is a 2D action game that blends stunning visuals with a tactical combat system based on absorbing and creating shapes. With its innovative paint system and skill-rewarding healing management, it establishes itself as a superior sequel and a must-have title for fans of the genre. So yeah, kind of hearing the excitement has me curious to check this one out. Have you tried Grime or Grime 2? Any interest in this?
Nah, I've said it a few times on the show. I'm not a super Metroidvania person.
Not a Metroidvania person, yeah.
They just don't click with me most of the time. So, I like seeing these games come out, and I always like it when they do well. I think that Silksong and Hollow Knight doing well is, just good for the space and things like that. But yeah, it's just not my favorite genre, so I probably won't play any of this.
Yes, and shout outs to fans of the genre. That is we can get a mixed bag quote in there next time, everybody. Absolutely. Kunio-kun and go ahead.
I was thinking a lot about hey, mentorship in the games media space and being edited by your peers and getting feedback and things like that. And I think the fact that we still regularly see fans of the genre and mixed bag isn't proof that there's a lack of mentorship. It's proof that there's no mentorship.
Yeah, yes, definitely. It's look, you'll find out one way or another, and it might be a bunch of people in the chat of Game Mess Mornings all shouting because you used fan of the genre. Which hey, I love to see it at this point. I get excited. So keep doing it, everybody. All right, last couple of stories. Let's hit this one. A restful trails for Yoshihisa Kishimoto, who was one of the creators or the creator of Kunio-kun and Double Dragon, passed away at 64. This is from Sal Romano at Gamatsu. Yoshihisa Kishimoto, creator of the Kunio-kun and Double Dragon series, has died at age 64. His son confirmed on Twitter. This is the son of Yoshihisa Kishimoto, the director of Kunio-kun. I'm sharing the notice to inform you that my father passed away on April 2nd. Please feel free to contact me at any time for further details. I deeply appreciate all the information shared with Kunio-kun fans over the years. Thank you for your continued support. Yeah, we're at that point where the old guard, people responsible for these games, are going to start just dying because they're old now. They've passed into an old generation, and it's weird because I will always remember a world where Double Dragon was one of the big game franchises. There was Mario, there was Zelda, there was Mega Man, there was Castlevania, there was Double Dragon. It was all just right there among the top tier. And when a new Double Dragon came along, it was exciting. When they partnered up with Battletoads, it was exciting. And they keep making Double Dragon games, and Kunio-kun is certainly a series that now has a niche fan base. But it's not that place it once was. And I think the world was better when we were all into Double Dragon. But yes, Restful Trails to Kishimoto.
Yeah, if you've never played any of those games, they are still fucking cool. Like, they're cool as shit. And the River City Girls games that came out recently are also really, really good and have some incredible music in them. So yeah, like, just look up the Kunio-kun wiki and look at the list of like 40 games on there and all of the fan games and stuff like that, and just pick one of them and just try it out.
Yeah, there's a couple of really decent collections, I think, on Switch. I mean, there was on a lot of platforms, but it's great to play on Switch.
Play Kunio-kun Soccer. Play Kunio-kun Soccer.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good game. It's a
really good game. All right, last story here. The Mass Effect TV show will reportedly be rewritten to appeal to, quote, non-gamers. This is from Lewis Parker at Kotaku. Lexia, I'm going to need your help on this one. Amazon's new head of global TV, Peter Friedlander, has requested that the scripts for the upcoming Mass Effect TV series be rewritten to appeal to, quote, non-gamers, claims a new report by The Ankler. Although that may sound like bad news to fans, the flip side is that the production for the series is reportedly on the verge of starting. They are.
We need a total rewrite. We're on the verge of starting production.
That's right. Yeah, get these words done fast. They describe the show as a pricey genre drama. So it's going to be a big budget show or whatever. I know. I guess there's been some reaction to this headline on places like the Mass Effect subreddit, Lexi, of being like, "Oh no, they're gonna make the mistake of not appealing to gamers." I don't know what this means. Rewrite to appeal to non-gamers. Why was the show in what way was it appealing to gamers? What does that mean?
Because in a lot of ways, the thing that makes Mass Effect so appealing is the interpersonal drama,
right? Which
is so core to film and TV writing.
Star Trek, yeah.
Yeah, it's just conversations. It's lore and conversations and backstory, which makes up a lot of filmmaking.
Does Star Fox show in this one as well? Like, is that what we're talking about here? That's a bunch of fan service? I don't get it.
It was actually the two guys from Army of Two show up, and they were like, listen, only gamers will understand this.
All right, never mind. We got to protect them then. We got to get that.
Yeah.
To me, I view this as, I don't see why it needed to appeal to game. Just make a really good Mass Effect story, and if you do that, you have a good sci-fi show, and that would be the thing that would appeal to the audience that liked Mass Effect. So I'm just confused.
What this reads as is someone who really liked the Mass Effect games wrote this show and understood that it's like hard sci-fi with a lot of like weird fucking space aliens, and every alien has its own codex index, and then someone from Amazon read it and was like, that's some video game shit. That's way too complicated. Make it more simple.
Weird. Right. Yeah. This is code for make it less weird. You're right. It could be that.
I do think it is basically just like, hey, spend less time explaining the stuff about how the species breathe and all this different stuff. The stuff that is really fucking cool in Mass Effect of, there's non-carbon life forms in Mass Effect, and it's really fucking cool how they write that stuff. But like, I can see an Amazon, exec reading that and being like, well, we don't have time to explain that, and we don't want to bore people with that, which is very funny when you consider that one of Apple TV's most popular shows is For All Mankind. But, so yeah.
For All Mankind got weird after a while. I stopped. I'm like, well, I think it just like, its interests did not overlap with mine as much. They're like, we're going to go so far into the interpersonal drama that we're going to stop talking about the moon. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I want to go back to the moon and see what that's all about. Yeah, okay. We'll see.
Good news for you, Grubb. People are going back to the moon.
Let's see. Well, I mean, what can you do for me in, like, let's say the next hour or so, Lexi? Well, it turns out that's exactly when they'll be wrapping around the moon. I think that's when the broadcast starts. That's incredible. All right, I'm going to check out this Mass Effect show because I think Amazon's had a decent hit rate with, like, Fallout and some stuff. They're working on a lot of video game property like adaptations. The Tomb Raider one apparently paused because Sophie Turner, that's the actor.
Yeah, Sophie Turner.
She got hurt, so they paused. But it's like, oh, they're making that, they're making this. We'll see. Apparently, this is going to start whether they have the scripts ready or not. What's that?
The God of War thing.
Yeah, God, that's right. That's them as well.
Jeff Bacala's God of War.
Exactly. He does. I really wish him and Dib would have gone as those two for PAX, but
he could have gone a producer credit.
Yeah, exactly. Incredible. All right, that does it for the headlines. Let's start wrapping the show up. Thank you, everybody. We have no poll question from last week because we did do the Bomb 12. So let's remind you that the updated Bomb 12 is up on giantbomb.com right now. If you scroll down by going to that website, you can see the Bomb 12 from last week, as well as a vote here link on the left-hand side. You click on that, it will take you to a Google form where you can submit your game to be considered for the Bomb 12 when we wrap up this week. Looking forward to doing all that as always. We do have a new poll question, which we'll get to in a second. Before we do that, though, Lex Luddy, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, and all of that good stuff?
Apparently, you can find me on Blue Sky at lexluddy.xyz, but that website seems fucked right now.
It's bad, yeah.
Dog. Turns out vibe coding your entire fucking website causes some problems. Who would have thunk it?
Yep, weird.
So yeah, you may be able to find me there, or maybe other places soon if something else crops up. And you can check out startmenu.co.uk if you want to see a bunch of new and emerging talented voices in the gaming space. You can also check out some of my writing over at Gamer Guides. I'm doing reviews and previews for those folks. I'm working on some interviews for Shack News over this week. So yeah, lots of cool stuff going on at the moment. Keeping busy.
Excellent. Love to hear it. Love having you on. We'll make it happen again soon. Let's do this new poll question, which I have written down here. Yeah, just grade the Super Mario Galaxy movie. If you saw it, do you want to give it an A, B, C, D, or lower? I'm interested to see the results because, like, definitely talking with people online, I'm like, yeah, I think the movie is a poorly made bad movie, and I enjoyed it. And there's people for whom like that's not. It's like actively bad to think that way. Like, if you like it, it's good. And I just that's not how I approach these things. And I'm perfectly happy to accept a movie being bad and be able to find the good in it, especially if it's trying to deliver something specifically for me, which is this movie is trying to do. But I'll be interested to see how the wider audience reacts. I bet we're going to have a pretty spread out response here. That would be my prediction. Lexi, what do you think?
It depends if the algorithm picks this up and the furries get a hold of it.
Okay, that's different, right? That's different. We get it. When you look at Fox McCloud, you get it. Kenneth Shepard's headline over there at Kotaku, once again, just saying what we're all thinking.
When
Might not be a furry, but when I look at Fox McCloud, we get it. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Yes, the classic, not a furry, but I see you, Ken. I see you.
Look, everybody, it's a good time over here at Giant Bomb. I think we should say what's happening on this website, in fact. So later today, we should be doing more Monday Mornings Missed with Mitch. Don't think there's any reason we cannot, but yes, we'll let you know for sure here in a little bit. We should have a couple of quick looks going up here pretty soon. It was pretty busy with PAX and everything last weekend, but now that we're back and sort of all recovered, I think we should be able to kind of get back on top of that. And then, expect Blight Club, expect your voicemail dump trucks, your UPFs, a few other fun things will be popping off here pretty soon. And then a new episode. Yeah.
Me and Jan.
Yes.
We've been doing some
right.
sweeping, some dusting, some polishing.
Is it time?
It should be time as long as servers don't break and our schedules are both still good. Poke Monday Night Combat should be returning for launch day, Wednesday, April 8th at noon Eastern, and then we'll decide when the regularly scheduled programming will be after that.
Okay. So what game are you playing?
Who can say, Lex? Who can say?
Excellent. I'm looking forward to that.
Also playing Myst, it turns out.
Yeah, that's the secret. All the shows are Myst. That's where the money's made.
Pokemon Champions should be fun. Everything we've been seeing looks good, sounds good, so I'm looking forward to hopping in there with Jan.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to watching. I might play along at home and see if I can find some fun from it, because I enjoy Pokemon Combat in terms of the actual system, but I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with y'all, so we'll see. All right, that is the schedule out of the way. I think we need to just kind of get out of this show and say, Lex Luddy, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games. I really appreciate it.
Grubb, always lovely hanging out, and always nice to chat with Sean beforehand. Much better company, if we're being honest.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, I agree. 100%. Thank you, Sean, for producing. We appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.